pleasure for me to be with Professor J. Reddy because two facts. One, of course, is the alumnus of the Marine College, which I also happen to be an alumnus with different disciplines. Second is the fact that he has taken upon himself to address the issues that are plaguing engineering education in this particular state. I think it's too much of a responsibility. The onus is on me to explain everything. I think it's rather difficult because given the fact I was away only yesterday, I came return. The insistence of Ravi. Anyway, I had expressed my views on the morass that is setting in engineering education at various forums. So I don't know how much of that has been heard and how much of that has been sort of followed. Anyway, I would like to look at this problem from a system theoretic viewpoint because I happen to have a background in control systems theory. So I can look at the problem from that viewpoint. And maybe my perceptions may not be correct, but at least since I said my background is systems theory, I try to put the problem in that perspective and see what we can do and what exactly is the reason behind this state of affairs. To me, it appears that it's an oversimplification when people say that institutions are not churning out desired outputs in terms of students capable of handling problems in their life, engineering problems. In the system, we know, any system has inputs, processing units, and outputs. So when system has got these three broad compartments, we cannot isolate and say that okay, the quality is bad. Unless we understand, what exactly is the process by which these people are being churned out, engineering graduates being churned out. And as you know, any system, okay, we have noise coming into the system. Noise can be at the input stage, noise can be inherited in the processing state, and noise can be the output. So typical problem in engineering is to minimize the corrupting influence of noise and make the product a desired product. Non-systems theory tells us there are certain things called observables and controllables. Controllability of a system and observability of a system. So when we talk about solutions to the problem, unless we know really the system is controllable or not and try to give inputs, then it just what does it work like? Similarly, what are we observing in here? The observables must also be clear, precise, objective. Then only that right type of feedback will go into the system. So, to address all these issues, and this for in such a short time in here, I think it's not possible. I'm just trying to give an overview, say my understanding of the situation here. So, the viewpoint that I would like to take is that the whole problem is a multidimensional problem. It has to be addressed at various stages. It must be a continuous and continuing affair. Any talk, discussion, okay, like a flyby operator coming in and doing his job and going out, doesn't work. I'm sorry to say that. It must be sustained, it must be continuous, it must be continuing. Then only we'll have some effect. Otherwise, it's just one of those people who came, gave a talk, and then went away, and everybody forgets the next. So, there are various mechanisms that have been built in this. Many people are really interested. We can have a discussion on that, and how these systems have been put in place, and at various stages, we have to have processes built in, process within processes. So, if one is really seriously interested, we just want to know some sort of putting polish on that thing, the cosmetic changes. It doesn't help anybody, it doesn't help us. So I don't want to go to the history of whatever, but I think there are certain times, if you look at it, when Usmania reached its pinnacle. It's no fun to say that university had obtained the five-star status accredited by the national NAC, and people would not sort of be aware of the fact that we were ranked 7th, if I remember right, because I happen to know the side story, the whole country. And 6th was the cutoff for universities' potential for excellence. We just missed it. Similarly, engineering colleges. If you look at the products of Usmania, especially from the Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, there is a saying in the United States that if you want to be academically smart, go to IITs. If you want to be street smart, go to smart. All the ventures, small ventures, electronics ventures, go to California, and especially the Santa Clara region, abounds in smart. And I myself, I said, I've been a product of Somalia, and of course in the United States. And I had the experience of teaching in universities. I was teaching at the University of Illinois before I decided that I must do something for this country and came back. So I have this sort of, knowledge of what happens there, how the systems work there, and how systems do not work. Any solution which is transformed from the United States will not work here. Absolutely no. That is my sort of personal experience and my own assessment. So let us not sort of, there is something like evolving ourselves. And unless the devolution comes from within ourselves in here, I don't think any solution that we can suggest will work. I'm sorry, but I'm not being pessimistic, but having seen what it is like, and having seen the pinnacle, and having seen now the abyss in which the university has fallen into, education has fallen into, I'm beginning to think that unless there is a sea change, unless there is a multi-dimensional approach to the problem of solving this problem in here, unless everybody concerned with higher education, concerned with the fact that we got falling standards, concerned with the fact that we are going nowhere, I'm afraid, the discussions, dialogues at a peripheral level and at a level, which do not address the real issues, it will not make much sense. Anyway, that's my personal assessment. At the same time, also an optimist. Because having been associated with Usmania for, 1969 to 2000, when I debuted the office, I have seen the flip and the flop sides of that. So that gives me hope that, like the proverbial phoenix rising from ashes, it's possible that situation could be retrieved. But nobody is waiting for Spania to sort of retrieve the situation. Everybody is galloping and we are staying behind. In fact, we seem to be going away from the advances and from the academic achievements. Other institutions, other states and the countries are being made obvious. It is an example of how Spania has reached academic excellence. It has been a star performer for us. So there's no reason why we cannot produce people of such eminence. So what I would like to sort of make it a point now is that unless there is some sort of a concerted effort identifying problems at each stage, identifying at what point noises are entering into the system, identifying what are the mechanisms that are responsible for noise entering the system, etc. So unless those things are addressed, leave alone technical education, but even education, other as Professor J. was mentioning. Because as the Vice Chancellor was very concerned about the standards in social sciences and arts,